Alright, welcome to another edition of What the Fuck Happenings here in Mendham. That's right, doing the camera on the thing. Yeah, I was going to fix the microphone and I didn't get to it yet. And hopefully there's not going to be too much wind and to ruin this video, blah blah blah. But things are looking nice here, really. I'll pan around. Just everything's pleasant and such. Up. I want to go up. Yeah, there. That's better. Really quite nice. Almost summer-ish. Yeah, I'm always, I will complain about things, so I'll complain about the weather. It's just been cold and wet, but everything's, grew really nice because of it, I guess. So I suppose it's not entirely a bad thing. Still got some irises that have continued to iris. It might be in the camera. Hard to get this right. Wind, he's the enemy. I got some. It's getting interesting. Some of these things are starting to look good, and patterns are kind of funny. Some of them are going heart-shaped on me. Of all things, I'm making hearts. It's kind of not very Inmendhamish. But speaking of gay stuff, little hearts. Contra something or other. Conference Report did a video on contra points. Yeah, that's it, contra points. He's done very well for doing this whole, I like being a girl. See, this one looks very heart-shaped. It's kind of funny, like a bunch of little hearts. Yeah, it's not exactly my style. This is more my kind of, one little color change maybe. No hearts, please. But anyway, everything's, growing quite well. Just hasn't not enough summer to start getting everything to start doing the finishing thing. Which way is this at the point? I guess that way. Probably should just sit down. Defeats the whole purpose of the camera that can move. I don't know if there's anything spectacular anywhere, but yeah, it's interesting. So I'll go over there just for a little bit. There is some sun over there. All right. So anyway, he made a ContraPoints, made a video on free speech, and he's been engaging with kind of the rough crowd of the SJW, whatever it is, Woman Hater Club people, and see, this looks kind of nice. Yeah, up, over, that's it. Something like that anyway. But yeah, it's quite pleasant. So that's going to get you in some controversy. And then he makes a free speech video, and I'm sure he does this thing where, I don't really go for this kind of, it's like the whole nigga thing. So he calls himself something like queer happy or something. I don't know what's with this bird. He's not afraid of me, in any respect at all. He just keeps thinking I'm going to dig something up and he'll be able to get some worms. I don't know if you can see him, but he's always around. Just hops from place to place. It's kind of a nice chair still. This old computer chair held up well outside. Oh, I think I just screwed something up. But anyway, wind. I really can't win. So anyway, I get to the point. I know. This will get better once I get used to it. And once I have the microphone issue fixed. It'll be quite excellent then. But till then, it might suck a little. Anyway, if you can still hear me. Okay. Yeah, so he does this he calls himself something. So instead of just, look, people, this whole transgender thing has done okay. I mean, it's gotten sort of acceptable. The Bruce Jenner thing helped. Everybody's okay, whatever, sure. It's not terrible, I guess is what I'm saying. And so all they have to argue about is stupid things like, how we salute the transgender, or, whether they get to use the ladies' room, And to me, that's kind of a complex subject. There's not an obvious right answer to those kind of questions. Yeah, chipmunk. I guess I could show the chipmunk, maybe. He's right down there somewhere. Pretty sure he's in the camera there. Anyway, so these issues I don't think are like the most urgent of the problems human civilization has. Is rescuing the I like to dress like a woman, or I want to be a woman, or whatever the thing is, or man, this I don't like my gender thing. I mean, it's never been better. And, short of paying for people's surgery or something, they've gotten a lot. They got a right to go to work now and do all kinds of things, do their thing without too much getting bugged. And then when people use words to describe themselves, like ContraPoints is doing, where you use a negative word like queer to describe yourself, you're just dragging the past into the present for no good reason whatsoever. You're creating a bunch of negative energy, if I can use those words. I mean, it just doesn't help any. It doesn't advance. It doesn't have any potential to advance anything, but to confuse what is sort of a resolved issue. And why bring up the now minority of people that would have some sort of negative, I'm going to call them a queer, attitude? If we're getting past it, why bring it back up? It just seems really counterproductive. So, anyway, who am I to tell people fighting their causes how to fight their causes? But I guess it's part of the evidence to me that their cause is kind of lame, in a sense, is if they can, if they can take risks that are fun. You wouldn't mess with it unless you didn't have something more directed to fight for than the right to call yourself a queer. So anyway, if that's going to be part of free speech, yeah, it's really dangerous and pointless to inject that into some sort of argument that I have a right to be hateful in some kind of way that it isn't a lie that in the past people's lives were at risk because of this whole queer thing. It wasn't that long ago that homosexuals could get killed. So it's not really in the category of free speech, making threats and using the language of threat makers, if you want to put it that way. So I don't, like I said, the whole idea that there's some sort of thing like an absolute free speech is bullshit anyway. So let's quit pretending there's such a thing as absolutely free speech, because you don't have a right to slander somebody without a consequence. And in places where you're not paying for your platform, yeah, you should be obedient to a few normative rules about not using terminology that people could equate with a threat, like Nazi rhetoric and that kind of stuff. Just really stupid. All right, well, anyway, enough on that. But it is, ContraPoints, he's got like, I don't know, he gets like 50, 60,000 views per video, so, it's obviously a subject that to the niche it means something to. but it's sort of disappointing from my perspective that when he just talked philosophy, he was almost nobody like the rest of us. And now that he has this niche subject, yeah, the philosophy is secondary, and now it's this other stuff, the agenda. But anyway, this is the way the world works. So, Paul's Ego made a video called Superposition or something, and it was kind of funny because, you know, he did a little section on physics, and I found it kind of interesting. And, you know, he did okay in terms of describing some elements of it. I guess most people don't know that superposition really doesn't have anything to do with something being in two places at once. It has to do with the initial purpose of the word, was to describe the effect that things affect you independently. So if there's three other people in the room, the idea would be is that you don't interact with them as a collective. You interact with them all as individuals. So individuals are in three separate locations, and that's sort of how it started, because that's how force works. Forces don't combine until they interact with you. Until they hit you, then they're combined. Then, you know, Larry, Moe, and Curly are the Three Stooges when they hit you, but as individuals, they're individual things, and they're individuals until I make them into the Three Stooges. To use that analogy. Anyway, curious thing, Wayward Horizons is back in town, and with a newish kind of attitude. You know, never, you know. Anyway, he's been very considerate and apologetic for past deeds and all that kind of stuff, so I'm comfortable enough. And just have to wait and see what happens. You know, whether that's be regrettable in some way, but yeah, you can't live paranoid, so I'm not going to worry about it. I would like to say thank you to people. You know, every now and then I get a donation or something, and somebody, you know, does this or that and sends cigarettes or does something. So I just wanted to say thank you to those people and acknowledge that it's very nice. It makes me happy. It does work. Yeah, you know. Kindness is, you know, I like it. I like, I don't know how to, you know, it's just nice. Sometimes it makes my day, kind of thing. That's all. I don't know, something about trolls, but I'm not going to bother with that because I already did a video on the trolls, so I won't bother with it. So bullshit, anti-bullshit man's made a couple of videos that I could tolerate. Mixed bag kind of videos. You know, he's gotten so mechanical, it's almost like watching a robot. It's like Data or something. You know, his conversation's almost a little bit unbroken because it's he's too analytical of his own conversation. And not that I haven't done that in conversation, but it is kind of funny because it's awkward. He's almost awkward in terms of being a person. He's so he's being so stringent about vocabulary and blah blah blah. But anyway, it's kind of funny. So anyway, I saw that he was on that VidMe thing, and I haven't looked at any videos on VidMe, and I did open an account there, and I do plan on putting videos there. I just haven't gotten to it because it's busy. You know, lots of stuff I've had to do. Everything's still in the air. Don't know whether the property got sold or not, or if it's, I don't know. No, they don't talk to us. We're the irrelevant people who have been living here for 30 years. We're unimportant. Rich people. Anyway, so Gray videos. Gray's made a few videos the last couple of months, good videos. And I noticed one, what the hell was it called? Shit, I'm not going to remember the title of it, so that's not going to be very helpful. But all the clips were his, you know, the video clips, you know, sunsets and bugs and stuff and whatnot. And so it's quite interesting that he's manufacturing his own graphics or whatever, visual content to go with my whatever and the music thing and whatnot. So, yeah, it's good stuff. Anyway. Just thought it's always worth a mention, Gray videos. So there's links on different places and whatnot. I don't know whether I should always have to. I mean, there's a link I always put in the box down there that has links to the videos I watch and, well, whatever. It doesn't matter. I'll put a link to Gray's videos. Anyway, so there's something the girl did a vegan video. She's called something like Steel Air and S, something like that. Anyway, cute and all that stuff. And a very good argument, though, just about, you know, why create any unnecessary harm? Why participate in anything that causes harm that doesn't need to exist, that you can easily prevent or easily do something else, and that kind of argument. So I thought it was a good argument. And such. Whatnot. And it's a girl. Which, you know, does, you know, my brain does react to that kind of thing, unfortunately, I suppose. So the rest of the video content for the week was all this determinism stuff, and it's kind of unfortunate. It's all sort of, you know, the debaters just kind of disappear from the debate, and the Mystics' last video is to just once again play some niggling game with my rhetoric, or the way I say something about how, like I used the analogy where you know, yes, Hitler couldn't have been something other than Hitler, but the argument would be is that the people around him, you know, should have been, I guess I was arguing, capable of seeing how bad things were, and they should have, if, you know, done the right thing as good people and smart people. They should have fixed the broken that was Hitler. But, you know, obviously they're deterministic and blah blah blah. But my argument is that we're not debating some sort of subtle change. We're not debating something like, I use the analogy of Einstein saying, you know, that it's the definition of imbecility is doing the same thing and expecting a different result over and over again. And it's it's that argument that this is so obviously a circumstance where people should be discontent, and they should be expressing their discontent, because that's the only way the discontentment can organize into a change. You can't have change unless you, number one, somebody puts it on the ballot, so to speak, presents it as an argument or a position, and then allows other people to say, yeah, let's go get them. Yeah, let's go bury the, you know, let's go throw the rich overboard. You know, let's do something. But none of that can happen if people don't talk about it first. That's the simplest thing you can do, is open your mouth and talk about it. And that's sort of the argument, is that when smart people waste their time talking about stuff that doesn't matter, that isn't really that important, and they don't do anything to talk about the stuff that is important, then they're not smart anymore. Then it's, you know, that's the problem then, is just being that they're too distracted by being some sort of what's in it for me-er, rather than somebody who understands that it's not just about you, that your role on planet Earth is to do a little bit more than eat as many cupcakes as you can. And you can't call somebody smart who's just here to eat as many cupcakes as they can, or something like that. So the argument is that, in my opinion, the modern mystic, to be a smart person who says, ignore it and be happy, you know, whistle and be happy, never mind, you can't do anything, be happy, take care of yourself, or whatever, this stupid, the universe is universing, it's not your problem, bullshit, that it's an incredibly ignorant thing to be implying, if not directly stating. And he certainly implies that he thinks people would be better off not paying attention to what I would argue is this gorilla in the room of the fact that we keep perpetuating the same thing because we don't do anything to stop the same thing. Again, as I stated before, all the messes in the world, that is all the overpopulation and ignorance, is being created by a tiny percentage of the human population. Small percentage, let's say, 15%. The really dumb people. And if the smart people take no responsibility to fix the dumb people, then the smart people obviously aren't smart. And that's sort of the argument. So if your deterministic end is going to be that smart people as a class or group basically just keep doing this what's in it for me shit, then they're obviously not smart, I guess is the argument. If we have a shitty future, it's because the good people really weren't good people. They pretended to be good people. They pretended to talk like they had ethics and decency. They were good Englishmen or something, or they were good civilians. No, they were balls of suck. Selfish, stupid pieces of suck. Because they didn't do the obvious, which is to, put the pit bulls in cages. Confine them, put them on a leash, put the poor on a leash. And the ignorant. And the reckless. And the drug addicts and whatnot. They all should be on leashes. Anyway, so it's not an argument about determinism or fatalism and feudalism, which was was the segment of determinism that me and the mystic were debating. Is there any validity to some notion that determinism means you're not a script reader anymore, that your script's not important? And clearly that's not what determinism means. It doesn't mean you couldn't have, like there isn't some unimaginable thing you could do. Like you don't need Superman powers. I don't need to be able to fly or take underdog super energy pill or morph into a transformer or something and be a giant, Pokemon or something. I don't need supernatural changes to be effective in the world. The point is that you could have been effective if you just gave a shit. And that's the simple truth. If you just gave it 10 minutes of work a week, little tiny things you could do could have made a difference in the sense that they're imaginable that could work. And so there's really no excuse for an intelligent person to say it's impossible. It's impossible that I could, in some scenario, if we change something about what I'm saying, that I could be more effective or I could make a difference, a substantial difference. They can't know they couldn't make a difference, so they have to concede that possibility exists and that some percentage of their time should be devoted to this minor inconvenience of just pointing out that we're heading for the brick wall and we're not stupid enough just to keep doing that. We're smart enough to say, oh, let's implement the don't hit the brick wall plan. Let's deploy the airbag, whatever. All right, so now it's probably enough. Maybe blueberries, but I won't get any because the birds will eat them all. Ooh, come on, turn camera. Yes, lots of them on the bush anyway so far, but the birds are going to start eating them any day now. Well, I'll put a net over it and try, but it's not going to work. It doesn't work, generally speaking. I have been trying to cover my apples too, I'll try. Might work, might get an apple this year, we'll see. Not trying would be stupid. And that's the point. And that determinism doesn't prevent me from saying do better, and from being affected by saying do better by doing better. Determinism doesn't make that not possible. That's part of being smart in a deterministic universe. You'll say smart things, and then you'll do smart things. Yeah. But he'll pretend you can't even say this stuff without somehow violating the Futility Act. Yeah. More hearty ones. Hearts. Kind of hearty. Anyway, we'll end there. And so thank you very much, and so forth and whatnot. Greenhouse, and this and that, and backyard. Ooh. Go back to the backyard. That'd be a good place to end. So sorry if there's wind noise, sorry if there's this or that, and better luck next time and all that kind of crap.